Good morning, everyone. It's 8 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m. It's Saturday. It's October 14th, 2023. Tom and Shane, happy to be with you here this morning. We have a lot we're going to talk about today. Of course, the events in Israel are going on. The House is out of control. The Capitol Police are protecting the squad. Mike Lindell of MyPillow's having some problems. And, well, the abortion issue and college campuses are gone nuts, Shane. So it's a mess out there.
And it's across the country.
Yeah.
It's one of these mini me moments where something so incredible would cause everybody to think that they should maybe stand up and pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, an attack that was worse than the Holocaust. That's 70 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Your markets are hedging now because this plight of the lack of sale of your treasury now on Tuesdays and now Thursdays twice a week. Like you said, you have tensions at universities between people who want to advance the cause of Hamas and the Palestinians and Hezbollah and people that want to side with Israel, which have been traditionally Democratic supporters.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No Democrat really of any consequences has gotten up and said something. Your president has, but it took him days to, the attack happened on Saturday, put out some kind of release, how terrible it was, but didn't really speak to the nation until Tuesday. And now you have a war about to begin. And this is just an occasion that people don't want to understand. The one thing I want to mention before we get going, because it's important, Iran seems very much behind it. That's all seems to be agreed. So you got the $6 billion deal that Biden has. But the other problem that you have is all the Iranian installations, on Krug Island that are on the Persian Gulf are exposed. And Iran's deal ends this coming week that he signed with Obama, or they signed with Obama. And so I think they already have nuclear weapons. I think they're already put on the tips of rockets. And the only other person in the region, other than India, of course, or Pakistan, is Israel. And Israel has somewhere between 40 and 100 nuclear weapons. So lots here.
There's lots going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's National Dessert Day. It's World Hospice and Palliative Care Day, Shane. It's also National Chess Day. And it's World Standards Day. We've upped our standards, now up yours. And it's also, which is a fitting day for us, Shane, it's National Fossil Day.
There we go.
If we're not a couple fossils, I don't know what is. If you travel Huffine on Tuesday, they're going to do the final striping, so there may be some slowdowns and lane problems there. So those of you who travel Huffine regularly, you may want to use your alternate route during that time. And that's on Tuesday. They'll be striping the whole of Huffine Lane. And the Cats take on Cal Poly tonight at 6 p.m. And the Cats are favored by 37.5 points.
Huge, baby.
So the predicted score, Montana State 47, Cal Poly 10. So we'll see how that plays out. And the other thing I have to remind you, of course, is Bozeman Magazine is doing their Bozeman's Choice, and you can vote for Tom and Shane in 7 different categories over there. Just go to bozemanmagazine.com and click on Bozeman's Choice, and we're under Media and Info, so you can vote for restaurants and all sorts of businesses, but we hope that you'll vote for Tom and Shane over there. And also, today is our 900th recorded show. 900 shows since we've been recording. We've done more than 900, but this is our 900 recorded show. So there we go.
There you are, baby.
Let's take some phone calls. 406-522-TALK is the number. 406-522-8255. Call your own with the award-winning Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, you guys got my vote, that's for sure.
All right.
It's a great one. All right. Good morning, good sir.
Speaking of the great one, just wanted to mention something, Tom, from the other week. Mark Levin does write his own books. He doesn't have any kind of a ghostwriter.
All right. Well, good for him.
Well, yeah.
So few people do anymore,
Yeah, I know. I don't write books. I have a problem writing letters. Fellas, can I ask a question here? Do
Absolutely.
you think for 2 seconds that what the media is saying about all of this, such as Iran is not behind this, do you believe that?
No.
Well, it's actually the opposite. There's clear proof that I saw both on BBC and Fox this last week that they had video of leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah for the last 15, 20 years interviewing and claiming, if it wasn't for Iran, they wouldn't be here. They completely supported them, like funded them. Iran's funded them with billions of dollars for 20. So even the leaders of Hamas have openly admitted that it's Iran that supported them.
Well, don't forget the international community has done the same thing. I mean, they've put money into the Palestinian government, which is basically Hamas.
Yep. That's right.
I mean,
right.
and a little while ago, if I'm not mistaken, they said they're going to withhold, except for 3 certain countries. But then they turned around, I think, and reversed it. In other words, they're going to send money. And I'm saying to myself, come on, people, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. And then there's all this talk about, the sound bites you hear. It's an open, concentration camp, or it's an open prison, an open air prison. They're saying, give me a break. These folks have had all this money going to them, but they've done nothing simply because the government that's there has taken the money to fund their weapons or fund their ability to come after Israel, and of course us. And by the way, fellas, how many people that have entered this country do you think are part of a terrorist organization that's going to do something in this country? There's a lot of people worried about that.
Yeah, more than 2.
Oh, they should be. Yeah.
Yeah, more than 2 came in, I'm pretty sure. So
more
okay. More than 2.
More than 2.
Well,
well, they know of over 150.
Yeah, at least
terrorists that have come in that they identified.
That's just the ones that caught. Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that caught.
Right.
Number one. Number 2, they let them go.
Yeah. Just have a good time. Try Disneyland.
I think the president of the United States should stay out of all this.
Mm-hmm.
Your comments don't make any sense. If you're telling Israel just to wait a minute until the Palestinians, in the Gaza Strip get a chance to get out of there and not be caught in a crossfire, you're out of what's left of your mind. Yeah. Nobody wants those folks.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't Egypt close off their gate or shut down?
Yeah, they did.
Right?
Yeah.
And none of the other Arab states are wanting these people. They're not making any offers or sending in any aircraft to take these people out. They're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, the Arabs are at the bottom of the food chain as far as Middle East is concerned, and Israel gave Gaza to the Palestinians in 2005, and in 2007 they elected a Hamas government, and 56% of them, according to the last numbers I looked at, favor Hamas, and 67% in Jerusalem favor Hamas. So
Israel should consider them the enemy no matter what.
Well, yeah, sure.
But 58% of the people in 58% of the people in Gaza Strip are in abject poverty. I mean, less than the poverty line. The only one that have any money or nice homes in those apartment buildings you're watching being destroyed is Hamas and their families that are part of the army in the wing.
And you're making a great point, too, Tom, about how these college campuses are in an uproar.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They come over here with a student visa, then they don't leave. all of a sudden they become part of some student group, and they can't wait to to wave some sort of a flag or put some sort of a sign in the air. Tom, one last question on the economy, since we are open for business.
Sure.
Did you ever notice how the Democrats cannot stand big business and big business profits? Now, all of a sudden, the other day, I think it was the day before yesterday, the banks, Chase, and those posted a profit of, in the 30s, and in the 30 percentile range.
Yeah.
And why is that? Isn't that because interest rates have gone up? Mm-hmm. So they're making more money on any money that's going out on loan, correct?
Yeah, they're not. They're not able to borrow money at 0% anymore,
right?
As they were. So they're making more money.
Right. Now, why is that? Is that because inflation? Because of and interest rates are going up by the Fed, and inflation is rising again?
Yes.
Well, yeah. Interest rates on home loans, because everything in your house is inflationary. Carpet, paint, plumbing, whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, anytime home rates go up, we're going to talk a little bit about that later on this morning about the cost of living here in Bozeman. But
right. My point is, Tom, my point is who caused the inflation? The Democrat spending policy. Yet they're the ones that are screaming bloody murder that they don't like people making profits like the big banks. They're they're the evil people. Hey, dopies, get the inflation rate to come down by stop spending.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't get me started. Oh, anyway.
We love you starting.
Yeah, all right.
You're a great starter.
I'm sorry, fellas. I just woke up on the wrong side of the couch.
There you are. All right, man.
Oh, by the way, get your glasses on. There'll be a partial eclipse this morning.
All right.
You might want to mention that.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Talk to you later, fellas.
All right,
Thanks
man.
for the call.
Take care. All right. 406-522-TALK is the number, 406-522-8255. Call, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Hey, good morning and happy Saturday, everyone. And congratulations on your recorded programs.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you're going to win that Bozeman contest. It sounds good to me. Everybody I talk to really enjoys hearing your shows. I have several points to make today. We're in a speaker race, and, of course, it looks like it's going to be Jimmy Jordan of Ohio and this Austin Scott, who is a Republican from Georgia. And that name took me by surprise because I was not familiar with it. And I did a little bit of research. He is considered a maverick, and he's pretty upset over what's happening in the House. He calls them they're acting like a bunch of idiots. And but I like Jimmy. I think he's a great man. He's a workaholic, and he's proved himself. He's honest, and there's nothing fake about Jimmy Jordan. But Austin, if he gets in, I think I'd be happy with him. And I just want to say I'm very disappointed in our Senate. Our Senate has had 5 weeks off of work, and, of course, Chuck Schumer's behind this. But after Israel was attacked last weekend, Chuck Schumer gave the Senate Columbus Day off, and I feel that our Senate should have been in session because we are on the brink of a war. They should not have had that day off, and to me that was a real embarrassment and an insult to the Israelite people. And what I want to say, too, is that we all know that it was Obama's failed Iranian policies, and this people are letting him off the hook. But this John Kerry, he was a senator, and he's been married twice to wealthy women who have kept him. And Tom, I'm sure you remember John Kerry from the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. He was a soldier for a while. He had a nice little office job. He never saw combat, and he slammed the military back then. He said the only reason that American guys are in the Army is because they're too stupid to do anything else. I mean, he just showed disdain and disrespect for all Vietnam veterans. And he's always been an egocentric troublemaker. I can't stand the guy, but he's getting off. Nobody's mentioning him that he's behind this Iranian deal, and he's been taking several trips behind the curtain, meeting with Iran leaders, and I still think that the SOB should be arrested and charged on for the Logan Act. And all I have to say are these people in this country that are protesting for Hamas, they need to be deported immediately, and all funding, federal funding to the colleges that support them should end. But it's not going to happen under this administration. We've got a weak administration. We've got a president that doesn't even know where the hell he's at. And all I can say is the squad, they're getting extra protection, and I'm sorry to hear that, because I kind of want to see the worst happen to them. That's all. I got to be honest about it. I can't stand anybody in the squad. But I'm kind of wondering if China didn't help support the Iranian attack on Israel. And I know that ISIS is recruiting a lot of North Africans to help fight against the Israelites, because I'm seeing a lot of blacks. And the Palestinian people, of course, are Mediterranean olive-skinned people. And Boko Haram is probably one of the worst terrorist groups in the world. But my thoughts, my prayers, I stand with Israel. I always have and I always will. And that's it for today, my friends.
All right, Nancy, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, the only thing about Jordan, I think Jordan would be better served going after the Bidens than saddled with running the House. That would be my only objection to him being there, because he's one of he and Comey, whatever, are going after the Bidens. So hopefully, I don't know where that's going to go, but it's going to stuck. So.
Well, he doesn't want the job, so
yeah,
that's what has been decided by him.
Yeah, I don't.
And
think...
with Scalise leaving the Capitol yesterday,
yeah,
he's gone. He went home. He said, "I'm out. I'm not running for it now."
Yeah.
So there's nobody that anyone is aware of that has an interest in the job.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of people saying, "Oh, well, let's give it back to McCarthy," which would not really be a good idea. But I don't know. Who knows what they'll end up doing.
I was going to say, what are you going to do? So,
well, clearly they don't know.
Yeah. From our text line, 406-478-8298, oh, please, inflation was caused by $7 trillion in spending by the Trump regime. No, it wasn't. It wasn't even near $7 trillion. And when Trump left office, the inflation rate was 1.6. So please, that dog won't hunt. Look the other way. Jim can't pass the bar. Cannot be a worse choice for speaker. What's wrong with these House Republicans? This is the best choice. Wow. So there you are. So.
Well, we've heard and even said and talked about, how this Republican Party has such a deep bench. And then, the third person in line to the presidency, after the vice president, they don't seem to find anybody that's eligible, interested, or capable of doing the job. It's a bit scary, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Most terrorists, including 9/11, come through airports. They aren't walking over the southern border. Gaza right now looks like an atomic bomb went off. Will soon look like a parking lot. Yeah, it probably will. So.
Well, I think that's their full intention. I believe that what they haven't taken down with the air raids that they've had for 7 days now, which is a staggering number. The Israeli Air Force is one of the largest in the Middle East. They have almost 700 military jets, all modern, and they have the most experienced Air Force in the world. I mean, it's a remarkable reality to hear the numbers that they're talking about. That they have a standing army of around 150,000 and over 500,000 in reserve. But everybody has served 2 years in the military, so everyone is supposed to have a gun and be aware of how to handle themselves in this kind of security situation.
Yeah. Let's take another call. 406-522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane.
Yeah, this is Clint. Good morning, you guys.
Morning.
Hey, Clint. Good morning, good sir.
How are you up there in Canada, Shane?
Warm, safe, and happy.
Is it nice up there? Is it raining? Is it snowing? What the hell's going on?
No snow, no rain. It was 72 degrees yesterday, and it's just been a beautiful fall. The leaves haven't even started turning on the cottonwoods. They're still waving in the breeze.
Well, this morning I got a question for you two guys. Do you know who Lord Balfour was?
Well, he was an English guy, I believe.
He's an Englishman, and he was promising Israel. I want you to look it up, Tom. He was promising Israel a state in World War I. Now, the question I'm going to ask you is this. When the UN decided that Israel needed a country, before they decided that, why didn't the United Nations, the Jewish people, and the Palestinian people go into Palestine, divide it up, and make a two-state deal?
All right. Hold that thought. We're at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to hold you over, Clint. You can talk to Shane while we're off the air, and
Okay.
We'll get back with you after the news at the bottom of the hour, so stay tuned. All right. Hey, Cal Poly in the stadium tonight at 6 p.m. That'll be on our sister station, 100.7 on your FM dial, so check that out. And also, don't forget to vote for Tom and Shane, BozemanMagazine.com. Go over and vote for Bozeman Choice. Tom and Shane are under info and media and info, I think, so be sure and do that. Also, we'll be back with Clint right after the news. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. 27 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Saturday. It's October 14th, 2023. Welcome to our 900th recorded show. Lord Balfour, the Balfour Declaration, which resulted in a significant upheaval in the lives of Palestinians, was issued on November 2nd, 1917. The declaration turned the Zionist aim of establishing a Jewish state in Palestine into a reality when Britain publicly pledged to establish a national home for the Jewish people. So that's what we're talking about, Clint.
That's absolutely right, what you just said. The thing was, if it would have happened then, okay, in 1917, if it would have happened and they'd have created the two states, I don't believe we'd have had the war. I think it was in 48, then we had another one in 67. I don't think we'd have had that. I'm just guessing, but I don't think so. If the UN would have really took a hold of it after Balfour and done that and had two-state solution and got the heads of Israel and the heads of the Palestinians together and went in there and then tried to decide which is going to be a state and divide it up evenly. You know, for years and years, Tom, as you know, Palestine, the Palestinians, was ruled by the Muslims for years and years and years, thousands of years. And so I want somebody out there smarter than me to tell me if I'm right or wrong about having a two-state solution. Arafat come awful close, and he was so stubborn he wouldn't take what the Jewish people offered. And that wasn't good. And the Jewish people now have been encroaching upon the Palestinian settlements and stuff and kicking them out. This I know for a fact, kicking them out, and it's causing a horrendous amount of tension. And that's one of the reasons why we're in this damn mess.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the Israel gave Gaza to the Palestinians, hoping there would be a two-state situation. But in 2007, they elected a Hamas government. So therein was the problem. It's not necessarily the Palestinian people, but they were taken over by this, this rogue street gang to run their part of Israel. So that's where we find ourselves. So.
Well, let's see what the other people around this state that's listening to this radio station call in and give their opinions and see what our resolution is going to be to kind of quiet this down in the Middle East and what they think about what's happening in our world today. And I'll hang up and I'll listen.
All right.
I appreciate your program, Tom and Shane.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Yeah, coming up at the 10 o'clock hour, I'm going to be talking with Rabbi Chaim Brook here in Bozeman. Actually, it'll be a recording. The rabbi and most Jewish people don't do technology on Saturdays. So that's why he is in. That's why we recorded him yesterday. So we'll play that recording during the 10 o'clock hour. So stay tuned for that. So get a perspective on the Jewish community here in Bozeman. So, well, Shane, unless Hamas and these Hezbollah and the Muslim Brotherhood and all these people somehow disappear, nothing's going to change in the Middle East. It just isn't. And you've got the Iran thing. We've got that agreement that's going to expire. There's no other agreement in place. So, they're free to go get their nuclear weapon if they, as you said, you probably have one already or pretty close to it, because nobody's gone in there and checked on them. Plus, you got the agreement's got to be unanimous, and with China and Russia on the agreement, you're never going to get a unanimous thing. So it's a stupid agreement to begin with. So I don't know.
That's right. It's a very misguided situation. These terrorist groups, which is quite interesting, are Sunni. Hezbollah and Hamas in Palestine and in, of course, in Lebanon. And, of course, we all know that Iran is Shia, and they have a completely different view of the Muslim religion. Actually, in most countries, they're despised. The Shia are despised. They're not welcomed at all. Yeah. But for the purpose of needing money, this goes back to 20, 30, 40 years ago when that little dictator of Palestine with his glasses and head wrap and gun on his side, he basically, forces upon the Israeli nation and the world. So you come to a place where Israel has tried in every imaginable way to get along with these people. When you look at the East Palestine in their country, with the Temple Mount, this is one of the most egregious acts that a people can suffer. And then it's like ISIS. Everyone's going, "Oh, how do you know about these horror stories?" And they put them up on the web. I mean, it's just it's pretty horrific, Thomas. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't know what to say other than I hope they can find and put an end to this and rescue the people that have been taken, because that's
Yeah,
that's a typical issue with these people.
Yeah.
They don't want. They all want a ceasefire. They don't want any collateral damage, but they hide in the mosques. They fire rockets from hospitals. They use women and children as shields, and then they take hostages. So
yeah,
it's turned into a real big play on the part of Hamas, and this is worse than thumbing your nose. There's no question.
Yeah. Earlier this week, I wrote an article for a Medium that I write for, suggesting that it might be time to amend the Geneva Convention, because you've got one side that has no rules of engagement at all. Civilians are targets. Hospitals, schools, doesn't matter. Same with Putin and Ukraine. But I'm wondering if somewhere along the line, if there couldn't be an agreement to just suspend the Geneva Convention and, go all out for a limited time, set a time period or something. But you can't fight. We did the same thing in Vietnam. unless we were fired upon. I mean, people could walk up to us with shotguns, rifles, hand grenades, whatever, and we had to stand there. Well, a lot of us didn't stand there, but we were supposed to stand there. And unless they aimed and put a round in the chamber, we were not supposed to do anything. So,
well, that was a huge change with the Trump administration. For 4 years, you're military.
Yeah,
that rule was gone, and he said, no, you do not have to wait to be engaged.
Yeah.
If you think someone's a bad actor or going to, you shoot him.
Yeah.
That's just.
Well, that's why.
And he's the first president since Truman to do that, and it made a difference. ISIS was gone within 4 months.
Yeah. Well,
you still have 15,000. You still have 15,000 troops in northern Syria.
Yeah.
Protecting the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, tearing up the ironic agreement without a replacement, which allows them to start making nukes the next day, is a bad idea. Maybe releasing 5,000 Taliban fighters back to Afghanistan caused a problem with the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now it just played Joe Biden and Hunter. And the Democrats may have the squad, but the Republicans have our own idiots like Matt Gaetz and Bobart, Jim Jordan, and Matt Rosendale. Yesterday, the stable genius had a fight with his microphone and claimed the mask would not have attacked Hamas, I guess, would not have attacked Israel if he was president. Somebody put him at home. Derangement is out of hand. Well, I would tend to think that they probably wouldn't have made this attack. I don't think Putin would have gone into Ukraine if Trump was president. Not in a heartbeat, not in a second. And
Z wouldn't be talking about Taiwan the way he is, and North Korea wouldn't be firing Chinese missiles to test them.
Yeah,
he was pretty straightforward.
Well, this whole thing could escalate into, because China is watching this very closely, Shane, in regards to Taiwan. What are we going to do? They're going to see what America is going to do, because I think China and Russia both are encouraging Iran and anyone else to get into this. Let's see what Americans will do. Let's see if they've got a spine. Let's see if they'll back up the talk. Will they walk the walk or just talk the talk? So I think they're going to look at this very closely and try to send it to another level to test America's resolve.
Well, I think one of the reasons that they've hesitated is there's just a very black cloud over the global economic situation. Now people, all the bobbleheads you've listened to for 2 years, saying, "Oh, no recession." Now it's a recession. It's going to happen. It's going to start in January. It's not going to be a hard landing. It'll be a soft landing. Yeah, and it's because they don't know what the Fed's going to do at the end of December because they have another meeting. And excuse me, I've already told you they'll have to raise interest rates at least a quarter of a point, perhaps as much as a half.
Yeah. And
the reason for that is that, core inflation that they basically talk about is around 5.6, which is bad. When you look at the overall inflation rate with interest and inflation on food and just gasoline, you're looking at 18%. Now, if something happens with Iran and they're taken offline, you're going to see oil at $200 a barrel.
Yeah.
It'll go to 100 and a quarter to 130 literally overnight. It'll go up $30 or $40 overnight. And Krug Island in the Persian Gulf is huge, and of course the Americans built it under the Shah, 60 years ago. So I don't know why they keep this effort up, but no one's willing to attack it. Well, Israel is. They don't need it. Israel, after their discovery of gas in the Mediterranean offshore, they've completely turned their economy to natural gas economy, and they have terrific technology to desalinate water to make fresh water, particularly for farming. For farming. So there are a lot of solutions that have been developed in the Middle East, but countries like Iran are, boy, I don't even know of anything that the U.S. has that would be that exposed. I guess if you think about the oil plants in the Houston to the sea, that sea space along the Caribbean Ocean to Louisiana, all the that's about the only thing the U.S. has that's similar. But in China, it's a five river dam. I mean, every country has a strike point that they got to worry about.
Yeah, how true. Yeah. Let's see. Pick something from our text line here that's not ridiculous. Let's see. Sorry, Clint, but there will never be a two-state solution. The hatred of Jewish people by the whole of Islam will never be overcome. The regular Islamic believer may despise peace, but the Islamic leaders are the same as the race hustlers in the U.S. It's all about money. Without their hate, their money supply would be cut off, in my humble opinion. That's from Not Your Sister Tam, Shane. So.
Well, yeah. You hear the politicians involved in all of this, from the UN, the Middle East, the United States, and so two-state solution. Well, there's been a two-state solution since May 19th, 1948, and it's called Palestine and Israel. Mm-hmm. And this is what has existed. The problem that exists with the existing two-state position is the Palestinians refuse to recognize the right of Israel to exist. Syria refuses to do it. Mm-hmm. The only countries that have agreed to that of any substance is, of course, Egypt, Jordan, and Morocco. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, even Turkey, they acknowledge the UN representatives of Israel, they're very hesitant to get in bed with Israel, so to speak.
Yeah. When Trump was going to bomb that air base in Syria, he called Putin ahead of time. Get your folks out and planes out of there. And if you think Putin would not have evaded Iran, that's choice. Well, how many Russians were killed in that Syrian attack?
200.
Yeah, I was going to say that's if that's telling them get out. Apparently nobody listened.
and they were not Russian regulars. They were all contractors. Mm-hmm. So these were special forces, basically. Mm-hmm. That's a big loss when you have that many taken out. So it's quite fascinating that no one reacted to any of the things that Trump did, like whether it was a lethal attack or a soft attack. When he told Europe, look, if you're not going to pay your part for NATO, there's no need. We don't need NATO. You need it. We don't. So if you want it, fund it. It's that simple. And he never heard anything about that with Canada, because Canada is such an important trading partner and so forth. And Canada has always paid its portion of the agreement that the U.S. and Canada have regarding North America.
Yeah. Well, calling Putin a genius, called Hezbollah very smart. You guys are deranged. Well, you're going to tell me that Putin and his corruption, that he's not an intelligent guy?
I never called him a genius, but
yeah,
the fact is that in these countries that are so large, I mean, when you look back 100 years ago to World War I and what was going on in Tsarist Russia, and a book writer basically took over the country.
Yeah.
Right? A guy named Lenin. He really. I mean, it's they talk big stuff about how they took over, And but it was a failed state. It was collapsing. It's a failed state like Mexico, like Brazil's becoming, the Philippines, Indonesia. I mean, there's so many democracies or even countries still led by dictatorships. Venezuela is a failed state. And you look at this across the breadth of this incredible marble we live on, and it just breaks my heart that how can't people be peaceful and want to live in peace and enjoy where we live? I mean, it's a pretty remarkable place.
Yeah. What mic are you using?
I'm using the mic that I have with my phone and with my computer.
Because your sound's not great.
Oh, well, maybe I need to turn it up, and that'll help.
Well, or use your head mic, or use the mic I gave you.
Right. Well, I unfortunately don't have that with me today.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Just curious. All right. Well, some other things we've got to talk about here. We're getting up to the toward the top of the hour. We want to talk some more about, we got to talk about the $6 billion deal. Also, we want to talk about Canada, Shane, no longer access to news content on Facebook or Instagram. We got to talk about that a little bit as to your censorship up there. And Mike Lindell, his MyPillow is unraveling. So we're going to talk about that when we come back as well. Coming up at the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with Chaim Brook, who's the rabbi here locally in Bozeman. And we'll be talking to him during the 10 o'clock hour as to their feelings, the Jewish community here in Bozeman, and what's going on with all of that. So we'll be chatting about that as well. Don't forget Huffine. They're going to do the final striping on Tuesday. So there's going to be some lane closures and things like that. That's October 17th. So if you travel Huffine on your way to work, you might want to give yourself a little extra time on Tuesday, or take an alternate route, whatever you did when the construction was going on, to resurface that road. So there you go. And MSU, Cal Poly, 6 p.m. The Cats are, what do they say, 37 favorites? Yeah. Something like that, 37.5 points. That'll be on our sister station, XL Country 100.7. Also locally, it'll be on TV, I'm sure. So check your local listings for time and channel. All right. What else we need to talk about, Shane? Here in the last couple minutes, we got 2 minutes.
Well, I think that one of the things that's really fascinating is the continuous issuing of initial public offerings, IPOs. Mm-hmm. There's been 82 of them in the last year to date. Over 85% of them are now trading below their IPO price. You had one this week that came out, and everybody thought, it's a famous clog from Germany, and they priced it at $45, valuing the company at $8 billion. It's a 180-year-old company out of Germany, and Birkenstock. And the stock opened at 45 and closed at 41 on its first trading day.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm glad that we've sort of kept the spotlight on the market and your debt, and kept everyone informed.
Yeah. Well, this speaker thing too, we got to talk a little bit about that too. That what do you? Is there somebody besides Jordan or Scalise or Brown that you'd like to see in there, Shane?
No one stepped forward.
Well, I mean, anybody you personally would like to see? AOC, maybe?
Yeah, right. There you go. Why not? Well,
Rosendale.
The existing gentleman, that's the sort of interim speaker, but has no legislative power.
Yeah.
They started talking about, passing or attempting to pass some type of bipartisan agreement that he could continue until they pick a speaker. But
the Democrats aren't going to go for that.
Well, of course not. They like to see the confusion and and the lack of ability of the Republicans to govern. I mean, and quite honestly, how do you make an argument?
Yeah,
I mean, they're only in charge of 1/3 of the government, and they can't even run it.
I know
they can't work. They can't even work together on it. So,
that's the sad part, in that the fact that it took 15 ballots to get McCarthy elected tells you all you need to know about how in disarray the Republican Party is in the House. So,
that's right.
Yeah. So.
And you have Lindsey Graham that blew the 20 election with his comment a month before about legislation on abortion.
Yeah.
And then you have Getz, who gets 8 Republicans to vote with 200 Democrats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's people don't realize, I don't think, to a large degree, that 200 Democrats voted with Gates and his 7 compatriots to get rid of McCarthy. And that's astounding.
Yeah. All right.
He needed the Democrats to get rid of Gates, which was the reason that he got rid of McCarthy. I mean, that's what he was accusing McCarthy of being bipartisan.
Yeah. Amen to that. All right. We'll be right back with more Tom and Shane after the news at the top of the hour. Stay tuned. We got a lot more to talk about. Welcome back, everyone. 7 minutes after the hour of 9 a.m. Mountain Time. It's Saturday. It's October 14th, 2023. Tommy Galoff, your Saturday morning mayor in the house. Shane Montalban, half man, half amazing. Where are you?
I'm right here.
You're not in Kamloops.
Yes, I'm in Kamloops. At my daughter's.
Oh, you're at another location in Kamloops.
Correct.
Okay. Good, because the witness protection people want to know where you are at all times. So
at all times,
yeah,
it's essential.
Well, John Tester and Joe Manchin are both facing tough re-elections this year, and they want the Biden administration to freeze the $6 billion that are in South Korea, I guess, or Switzerland, or who knows where the hell that money is, Shane. It's been shuffled around to 72 different places.
Isn't it funny? It starts out, it's in South Korea.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this week, after the attack, it turns up in Qatar.
Yeah.
And it's frozen. But, of course, if I was a Qatarian government official and I had $6 billion American dollars in an account designated for Iran, I'd lend them $6 billion.
I was going to say, I got collateral. What's the problem?
Now, what really should happen to really cause a stir is the U.S. should seize it, the money, and give it to the Israelis.
It's Iran's money, though. It's Iran's money.
I realize that, but after what has happened to Israel this last week, and it should all go. That's what I would do. I mean, that's what I would do. I'd seize it, and I'd tell the Qatarians, I'd deposit in the biggest and smallest banks in Israel, and hopefully the government will give it to the people to help them from what they've gone through. That's what I do, just to make a point.
Well, of course, it's supposed to be restricted to humanitarian needs in Iran, of course. So
food and medication.
I did a deep dive. I came across a couple of places it's going to. One is the Tehran Children's Hospital and Stinger missile repair, and the other one's going to the Iran Retirement Home for Bomb Makers. So
there you go. That sounds appropriate.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good to have the. Yeah, that's a couple places it's going to.
Eagle man, your sarcasm.
I know,
is the best.
Well, as far as I know, the prisoners are still there. No prisoners have been traded yet. So, but does this $6 billion deal? Do you think that embolden Hamas that hey, we can attack Israel and get some prisoners and get some money out of this too.
Not only that, but if you believe the reporting that's coming out of this Middle East journalistic crowd, they've been involved directly in planning this since August with, these people from Palestine traveling to see Putin in Moscow and see the leaders of the military in Iran. And they apparently, that's where they trained the gliders. Because clearly, if Israelis saw Hezbollah flying gliders around Gaza City, they'd think, well, what's that all about? So they had to train them to do it somewhere else than Gaza City or Palestine or the Gaza Strip, right? Because it's the most observed piece of real estate in the world. I mean, it's all just too much to try and believe that people are this horrific, and sadly that there's people that believe in someone's willingness to be peaceful. It's regrettable for both parties.
Yeah, so it's sad. So, well, that's.
And without guns and bombs and howitzers and jeeps and tanks, your Congress is doing the same thing. I mean, they really are. It's the same thing. They can't agree on a quorum together themselves. They can't agree on something that's bipartisan with the Democrats, unless it's to hurt themselves. I mean, it's excuse the expression, all back assward, buddy.
Yeah. From our text line, 406-478-8298. If you look at a map of the Middle East in 1917, you won't find Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, or Palestine. Since the 16th century, the area was part of the Ottoman Empire. However, the Jewish people have inhabited the area, now known as Israel, since recorded history. Every nation in the world has had their boundaries established through war and conquest, including the United States. There will never be peace in the Middle East until all the biblical prophecies are fulfilled and Jesus Christ returns.
Well, two comments. The first comment was it was armistice on November 11th, the 11th month, the 11th day, on the 11th hour. The treaty itself didn't come into play until 1922, in Paris when they had the final treaty. And they're right. What basically took place was a Frenchman and a Britishman. They decided to split the Ottoman Empire up into the countries we now see today, which includes principally Turkey, of course. But and there's a number of groups because of that division of land that basically weren't allowed any rights. And Turkey's been having an internal civil war with a group for a very long time. The situation with the Near East, Yugoslavia and Siberia and Croatia and so forth. But even Saudi Arabia wasn't a recognized country because it was tribal. But they created one, and as the person said, all the rest of the Middle Eastern states, from Syria to Israel and Iraq and Iran, and so in a flick of an eye, historically, it's only been 100 years, and it hasn't worked out too well.
Well, yeah, that's true. If the U.S. takes in $5 trillion a year and spends $7 trillion, does that mean $2 trillion goes to the national debt? Yeah, that would be pretty much accurate. Yeah, that's how it works.
Not really,
Well, I know if you spend more than you take in, but yeah, there's a big difference there.
The countries that are spending more than than you're selling to them, that they benefit, and that's what the trade deficit is other countries that are selling to the U.S. more than the U.S. is selling to them. And so they're the ones who benefit with the difference, not the national debt. The national debt is based upon actual debt created by your country, your government.
Right. Yeah.
not trading, because of trading.
That's it. Let's take a phone call. 406-522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
You know, I think the only good thing about this whole situation is the history lesson that people are getting. But because history is repeating itself and we must learn from it. Fairly simple. But I follow this one site on Reddit that's just called map porn. So there's just maps from all over the place, and you can click on them and screenshot them and then zoom in on them, and they kind of, update with what's going on in the news. So there's all these maps of Gaza and how it's changed and all of the Mediterranean area, all the way over, into Turkey and all the areas where Muslims and Christians have intermingled since before the First Crusades, right? And it's cool to see how it changes, because you can look at a map of like where the Jewish people were spread out all over Northern Africa, Southern Europe, all the way over into Eurasia. They were everywhere before, it became what it is now. But like the history lesson is just so awesome because there's just so much of it right there. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You just got to look at what has happened, and you can see that nothing is ever going to change over there. But except like what that last texter said about Jesus Christ coming back, then it might change. If you look at all of this since it's happened, you can see videos and demonstrations all over the world of groups of people, whether it just be in the cities or on college campuses. And there are groups that are pro-Palestinian, and there are groups that are pro-Israel, and there have been clashes in some places, even outside of Seattle. There were some clashes between protesters, blah, blah, blah. But you'll see massive groups of Jewish people here in America and elsewhere saying that Israel does not speak for all Jewish people, that they're against this war, they're against the conflict, they're against Israel retaliating, right? And it's good to see because it shows that you can be religious without being fanatical and just being a blind follower, right? But what you don't see, and what you will never see, and what I have never seen in my 45 years on this planet, and what we have not seen once since we bombed Afghanistan 20 years ago, what you will not see is a massive group of Palestinians standing up saying, stop killing the Jews. It's never going to happen. You can see videos of these kids. My girlfriend has an 11-year-old daughter who is amazing and so crazy aware of what's going on. Nothing gets by this child. And then you see the videos of these Palestinian kids, and there's just dozens of them repeating how they're taught to hate the Jews, kill the Jews, annihilate the Jews. This is our land. They don't belong here. Blah, 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 blah. It is ingrained in their heads. And that is why me personally, when I watch all this news and I see these videos online trying to show, here's a poor Palestinian father grieving over his kids who were just killed in a bombing by the Israelis, I don't feel 1 ounce of pity for a single Palestinian. Those people have been rejected by everyone of their same faith. Nobody will take them in. We need to seal up our borders. The thing that scares the crap out of me that nobody will mention, not a single general on Fox News or CNN or anywhere. I listen to all these podcasts where guys have these retired generals on. Not one time in this last week have I heard a single person mention the nuclear weapons that disappeared into society when the Soviet Union collapsed. These weapons are already in the hands of the people who are going to use them against us. They are going to be used here in America, not just over there across oceans and across borders. People better buckle the hell up and wake the hell up. I got to get to work. I love the show, guys.
All right, man.
Pray for everybody. Pray for the innocent. Pray for the victims that don't deserve and don't want any of this crap. We are in a battle of religions, and all we have left is prayer. Where can you find more irony than that? Have a good day, guys.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Next time, don't sugarcoat it. 406-522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. Thanks for waiting. What's going on?
Is that me?
That's you.
That's a pretty tough act to follow.
I know.
But I got a couple of quick points of interest. So when I saw them lift the chicken wire fence up and ride their little motorcycles with their guns into Israel last week, I hurried up quick and Googled the gun law in Israel. And I believe it said you had to get a permit from the government, and you had to get permission from the police chief to have a gun in Israel. Now, with that being said, it certainly appeared that those people had no way to protect themselves. There was nobody in the neighborhood with a gun. No one shot any of those invaders. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I think Switzerland is one of the countries where everybody gets a gun that has signed up for service or whatever, which has always been neutral.
There's three countries with required service after high school, and or turning 18. North Korea, which is 10 years till you're 28. Switzerland and Israel, basically a two-year training period, which you are then assigned a weapon that you take home with you.
Yeah. So.
Well, so the military in Israel, where do they keep their gun? How do they get the gun into the hand of the soldiers?
Well, they all have them at home because the majority, the majority of people of those generations, basically 18 to 35, are part of the reserves. So that's who they've been calling up, the 400.
Yeah, they have the 500,000 reserves, I believe, in Israel.
150,000 standing army with over 500,000 reserves.
Yeah.
Was there no reservists living anywhere near that music festival?
Well, no, people were living with it, and a lot of them had weapons, but these people came upon them. They weren't anticipating it. Yeah. They were celebrating. Mm-hmm. Most people with children, as in Israel, they have them, in a safe room or in a closet or locked up.
Yeah.
I get that. That.
Well, if you think about it, let's take a scenario here. Let's suppose that all of a sudden rockets start flying into Bozeman. There's almost everybody here's got a rifle or a shotgun or a handgun or something. I think we'd be ducking for cover rather than grabbing our guns and going out and saying, "Who's dropping these bombs on us?"
Or firing.
But this wasn't bombs. This was little guys on motorcycles.
Yeah. No,
this wasn't bombs.
These
are guys on mopeds.
Look, first of all, you're getting this wrong. There's a 20-foot cement wall, and your reference to the chicken wire fence is after they blew holes in that. That was not the first thing they did. The first thing they did is they sent in dozens and dozens of 5 areas they were attacking of guys with gliders. So they literally flew over the fence and towards looking for people. Their job was to kill anyone they saw or try and take hostages. The second thing they did at the same time was they flew drones over that dropped explosives, and they showed the videos of them destroying some tanks and attacking kibitzes with them. The third thing was, after they blew the hole in the wall that goes all the way around Gaza, they attacked the central gun towers in 5 places with drones and men. And then the wall, not the wall, but the fence that you're talking about is on the other side of the wall. And so they drove front end loaders to the through the wall, and then they took out that fence for then the guys on motorcycles to come through, and then after them the guys in their Toyota trucks with mounted guns. So that basically was the procedure.
Yeah, it was a pretty well planned attack.
It was very well planned. And
the other thing is, Israel intelligence is usually pretty good. And this big question is, why did the United States, why was there's no chatter about this attack when they've been planning it for like 2 years or so?
Well,
that's a very sophisticated attack.
The major planning's been going on. They believe since August, but what they're trying to cover their ass with is they're saying they didn't use normal lines of communication.
Obviously not.
Yeah, no, I know that's what they said. they went back to notes and direct, discussions with individuals. Yeah. There was nothing over the waves to hear.
There you go. Hey, thanks for the call.
Well, hey, wait, I got one more quick point of interest.
Go for it.
So that could never happen here, right? You mean like a balloon floating through all the states,
Never happened.
That would never happen because we would never have balloons floating around.
No,
with Chinese balloons and could be dropping off any kind of time bomb that might go off in the form of some bad virus dropped all over Montana.
Yeah, they're probably Disneyland leaflets for a discount or something.
Well, hey, one more point of interest if you got time.
Sure.
The House representatives, they talk about how we don't have any good candidates. Well, I look at Biden, I look at Hillary, I look at Kamala Harris, I look at Fetterman. I'm going, talk about bad candidates. We've got good candidates.
Well, the fact Schumer's the head of the Senate tells you all you need to know, huh?
That's my point exactly. We've got some pretty good people. We're just trying to get the best out of them.
There you go, man.
That's true.
Thanks for the call. All right, take it. All right. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Hi, Tom. It's Joe.
Hey, Joe.
I spend all day long, every day, because I'm older than Clint. So,
yeah.
But I'm getting a understanding that I couldn't even be able to comprehend. On the bottom line, this is a religious war, and our people, our thought process is, if we live and let other people live, that's our goal, even in a battle, unless it's the enemy. I've heard many Palestinians right on video saying that their goal is to die for the cause. That the Quran tells them that they will get X number of virgins if they die for the cause. So their goal is to die for the cause. Our goal is to live for the cause. And that's the bottom line of the whole thing. It's a religious type thing.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
One other
thing
I would like to ask you, is that the people that text in, if you will give I'm sure you see their phone numbers. So it gives an impression to me that there are a lot of them. So if you can say, okay, to give the population an understanding of what their thinking is, but it gives us an impression that there are a lot of them, and if there are, I want to know it, and if they're not, I want to know it.
Okay.
So maybe just say, well, there's a half a dozen of them or so that we don't get the impression that we got a whole army out there against us. Thanks
All right.
a lot.
Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah. One day I wrote them down. I think that how many numbers there were. It's not a lot. It isn't. There's probably 5 that really are permanent texters, for want of a better word, and maybe 10 or 12 total. So that's about what we get. So just letting you know. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. So, hey, don't forget, BozemanMagazine.com. Tom and Shane, vote for us. Go over to BozemanMagazine.com. Click on Bozeman's Choice. We are under media and info. We would appreciate your votes so much because all of our competition's on 5 days a week. We are only on 1 day a week, so we really need your help to get over there and do it. Nothing will happen to you. You won't be inundated with stuff. So go over and get her done. And we'll be right back right after the news. Welcome back, everyone. 27 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Saturday. It's October 14th, 2023. Happy to have you along with us. Don't forget, at 6 p.m., the Bobcats are going to take on Cal Poly out at the stadium. 6 p.m., that'll be on 100.7, our sister station here at Town Square Media. So hopefully you'll check out that area. From our text line, 406-478-8298, none of the American assessments offered any tactical details or indications of the overwhelming scope, scale, and sheer brutality of the operation that Hamas carried out on October 7th. Sources say it's unclear if any of these U.S. assessments were shared with Israel, which provides much of the intelligence that the U.S. bases report on. Greetings, boys. Looks like all our college campuses, the liberals, are convinced that Palestine should run the Jews out. Word is on the street is if you choose, run America. So when you're attacking Israel, I guess we're next. So that may be that may be true. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing some kind of attacks here and there on our own soil here from radicals. But, we were surprised by 9/11, so that had been planned for quite a while. Let's see, 8 radical Republicans voted with the Democrats to get rid of McCarthy, including our own Maryland Matt. Yeah, so, yeah, Matt was in there as well. Let's see. Countries of Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Syria are large countries. Some are Muslim, Sunni, and Shia. If these countries were really concerned about the Palestinians, they could easily accommodate them in their vast lands. They have no interest in doing so because having the groups of Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Palestinians being a continual thorn in the side of Israel is what they want. So there you go. So they keeping them somewhere else, Shane.
Why not?
Yeah, keep them out of here. So, yeah. Well, we've got to talk about a few other things here besides just Israel. One of the things I wanted to get to, of course, was Mike Lindell. He's having some issues. He's being sued by the two Dominion and forget the name of the other one, Shane, the voting machine that's suing him.
Right, because of what he claimed or
he claimed that he claimed that the election was stolen from Trump. And the machines were the issue, and so he's spent $40 million trying to overturn the result. After the election, MyPillow was included on TrumpMarch.com, a website promoting January 6th rally, and so he's having some issues here, being sued by Old Dominion and. Forget what the other company was. There's 2 of them I know, but anyway. Lindell said American Express had cut MyPillow's credit line from $1 million down to $100,000, Shane. So American Express is going to take this on. And he said it was an all-out attack on MyPillow. So, if you notice, there haven't been many MyPillow ads on any of the stations. They were religiously on Fox probably every hour, but haven't seen them for quite a while. So.
Oh, you haven't? I see them up here on Fox all the time, every day.
Well, I haven't seen them for the past week or so.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So there it is. So, let's see. The other thing we've got to talk about. Biden edges out Trump in the polls, Shane, which is not surprising, I guess. Trump 59% to Biden 60%. So, it's pretty close, as they say. Yeah, actually 48-49 margin of error. DeSantis beats Biden by 2 points, and Nikki Haley beats Biden by 4 points. So I realize it's pretty early, and these are Iowa numbers and New Hampshire numbers and whatever, but still
the
in
biggest
all.
story this week that no one's really covering was the fact that the special counsel interviewed your president in the White House over a 2-day period last weekend.
Yeah.
So this invasion of Israel takes place on Saturday, and he meets with the special counsel while that's happening. Then on Sunday, he meets with the special counsel, and it's for several hours about his secret documents at his home and at the university that he's, been working at. And no one really talked about it, or no one asked anyone in any of the White House briefings about it all week long.
Yeah.
And he apparently did it. He did it voluntarily. There's only one other president that's done that, and that was Bill Clinton in the Walensky, whatever deal.
Yeah.
So this is getting closer and closer and closer under the radar and without any journalists following it.
Well, I'm sure the reason that the intelligence community missed Iran and Israel is because they were after Trump. They're spending all their resources there.
Right.
Not going anywhere else. Let's see. Trump received 59% of the support still among the GOP primary. I was looking at the you can go over to realpolitics.com. And they've got the polls over there, but Trump steadily increasing. DeSantis has come down. Ramaswamy's come down. Haley's gone up. Scott's sort of in limbo, and everybody else is kind of off the radar. So,
yeah, they're all below 10%.
Yeah. Vivek or Vivek Cake.
Vivek Cake. Yeah, he went down 2 points.
Cake. Yeah, he went down to 7%. Mike Pence and Christie and Senator Scott. They were all 5%. So it was, they're so far behind Trump. It's not even. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous that. And I know the Democrats can't understand why this guy with 90 or 150 charges against him and 4 court cases pending, and why he keeps increasing in the polls. Well,
I don't think it's. Look, the case, which is not a criminal case in New York, is over.
Yeah.
It's a dead issue because of how long and she's been carrying this on, and so it's reached the limit. And the case in Florida is gone because it involves the critical information that they can't divulge to the public or a jury, and it'll be a public trial. So the case in Georgia is lost. Because basically it's another, Ukrainian type phone call to the governor. Let's look for more votes. Because the difference was 15,000. So that's what he did. Big deal.
Yeah, find a vote, will you please?
The only danger, the only one that he has concerns about is the one in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
About the 6th. But with the information that's come out and keep in mind, that information Carlson came out with all those videos and everything. Yeah. And stuff that the Republicans, if they get their poop together in the House and continue their investigations, will get, access to all that information that the Democrats didn't disclose.
Yeah.
So that I think for the most part, it's they're burning the brush to create the wind to blow a ship into the rocks, basically, the Democrats, but we'll see.
Right on John says you can now call your 900th show the Eclipse Show. Eclipse Show. Sorry, Eclipse Show. And why does Jerry call himself Mike when he calls Aaron's show? So I have no idea. I always use a fake name when I call somebody else's show. So.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, I they'll recognize my name, but not my voice, I'm sure. Anyone who would vote for Biden or supports the corrupt, incompetent fool must have the IQ of a cockroach. Wow.
Ooh, that hurts.
Did Lindell ever pay the $5 million reward for debunking his election lies? Well, he's in court with Old Dominion and whatever, so lawyer fees are taking everything he has, I think. So yeah, he may be done like dinner.
Well, personally,
yeah.
Let's keep this separate from his business, because his business is doing exceedingly well, and they're suing him personally. But I'm sure there's a good friend of his with a checkbook that's helping him out.
Yeah. Tom, you don't know why Biden's polls are holding, or Trump's polls are holding? It's because you guys on talk radio and Fox keep lifting him up instead of reading the indictments against him. But don't worry, when the attack ads hit, people will know what he did. Well, good. Well, let's get the attack ads out there. Let's get going.
I just went through every case that he's involved in, because of your reference, and read them all, read the indictments. I read the updates, and it's a foxhound. What was that? The Fox and the Hounds that the British used to play. They don't do anymore because it's so cruel to foxes.
Yeah. Mike Lindell lost the suit for $5 million because of his election lies, as he paid it, or he is not paying that guy too, just lawyers. So, yeah.
But I think he's appealing that case.
Well, I'm sure he is, but but I'm sure he's running out of money paying lawyers. So I don't know. It's sad over there. So, but yeah, I think it's a little silly to go all out on things like that. So,
works both ways.
Yeah, that's true. It does. You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah. Let's see, in other news, a Montana judge, Shane, if it'll load, a Montana judge, federal judge in Montana is continuing to block enforcement of a law. I'm getting real bad feedback from you. You got something on, or that's better? Yeah, that's better. Well, a little better. Federal judge in Montana is continuing to block enforcement of a law that puts restrictions on drag shows and bans drag reading events in public schools and libraries. U.S. District Court Judge Brian Morris said the law targets free speech and expression, and that the text of the law and its legislative history reveal anti-LGBTQ plus animus. So I have a problem with that, because free speech is not absolute, Shane.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's one of these things that you have to earn, and you have to protect, and you have to be responsible for. I mean, you got to be responsible for your own free speech.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well, I don't know. I still think there's certain, I can't yell fire in a crowded theater. So what's the deal?
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on. All right, let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number, 406-522-8255. Call your own with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
It's interesting, these texters and these guys, other people calling in about how crooked Trump is, and he's not perfect, I understand, but they got the writing on the wall on Joe Biden and his whole family right now, but they still can't see the truth. And the other thing is,
are they better off? You know, you can keep pounding this at them. Are they better off than they were when Trump was in office? But they'll sit there and be like the frog in the pan of the cold water and turn the heat up a little bit till they find out that in the end that maybe they were not lied to and everything else too. And another note is these college kids out there that are demonstrating in favor of the murders to Israel. If they were shipped over there, they'd slot their head off just as quick as the rest of them too, unless they were go to their cause. And the other thing is these transgenders and these other folks that are homosexual and that if they got over there, if they're in on this right or demonstrating too, they'd kill them in a second. So I don't think they really think about what they're doing. They're just out there getting in a crowd and doing it. So those are my thoughts for the day. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks much. All right. Let's see, Shane. What else I got to talk about here? We got to talk about the caucus. Go ahead, Shane.
You brought up in the last block about the situation in Canada and Meta.
Oh, yeah.
This is a really interesting aspect of what you call government intervention and an effort to create a monopoly and to restrict free speech. So what the government of Canada did is they passed a new law that was designed to force tech giants like Meta to pay news outlets for posting their journalism on their platforms. Now, stop for a minute. What's that mean? Well, what that means is Meta doesn't pay anybody for information or content. It just it's put up on their site, Facebook, free. But Canada passed a law to protect news journalists in Canada. So it's basically an indirect form of anti-free speech, and it's a total support for monopolies. Now, we just recently had the completion of the Rogers cable network, which was everything which had been agreed to between these two companies 20 years ago. Everything from Saskatchewan east was Rogers for cable, and everything from Alberta west, which was for what was known as Shaw. Ultimately, they've now bought out Shaw, and that merger or acquisition has been approved and completed. And I got my first Rogers bill. That proves to you it's done. But the point is, it's now a monopoly. And you've heard me say this over the years, and that the regrettable thing of Canada is it is a monopoly in almost every area that you look at. I think that's probably a better situation than having a tyrant, like in Ukraine or China or Russia or Iran, where the government controls everything, right? There's no political parties. They control all the media. They control all the industry. The only problem with that is the backside, which is China, which I've segued to because the numbers are worse. Now 60% of the public companies in China that were trading on their exchanges with regards to property and real estate have gone bankrupt. So this is not a creeping story. It's not everything you're being told about China is a lie. It's in the desperate throes of falling into a depression. They're already in a hard landing recession, and it's only worsening by every day. They've had a complete collapse of consumption internally by their people. They're not, they're not buying anything from anyone anywhere in the world, and their exports were down again 15% in August and another 16% in September. So this is a one-way track, and it will have a major impact of what's going on between this triocia of North Korea and Iran and China and Russia. So we have to pay attention to their financial issues.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there you are. So
There you go. So my rant before I go.
Well, prominent progressive members of Congress received a security briefing from the Capitol Thursday amid a major uptick in threats against them since the attack on Israel this weekend. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, Ilhan Omar, Ania Presley, Rashida Tlaib, Summer Lee, Barbara Lee, and others are being put under police protection. And, so that we would be terrible if anything happened to any of those folks.
But the terrorist attack is going to come from the people they support.
Yeah.
So but they're being protected. They've reinstated the fence around your Capitol. And so they are concerned, and they should be, because of how many people, 7 million people have crossed your border, and they're from everywhere. And so... I don't know how they're going to answer to some type of an attack. I would have thought it might have come yesterday because, the Muslims in the Middle East were having supposedly a day of rage. But, the Temple Mount, the Israelis only let older Muslims in to pray, and they wouldn't allow any young men or women into the temple. So... they're very, very aware there now, like we should be here of what's going on. Yeah. So if you see something, say something.
That's for sure, yeah. Democrats need to understand that Trump is not going away. The Koch brothers, supports DeSantis, a newly created puppet. Biden is Soros-backed and by every pedophile, bigot, devil worshiper. Trump has morals, values, a businessman. Any left shamoran can throw rocks at glass houses. Mike Lindell has values. Another reason to attack him, and that's from our listener, Jen. So,
well, there you go.
So thanks, Jen.
So enjoy the recorded that Tom is going to play next hour with the rabbi. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate everybody. Great calls today because of what's going on. That's a good thing. Always a factor. You're my best friend forever. The big Eagle Man, appreciate this great time together. Be happy, be safe, everyone, and live in the moment. When war comes about, you find out why that's so important.
That's for sure. So
we're just blessed it's not here. So come home to your family with a smile on your face, because that's the way they want to see you. Come through the front door. Live in the moment. Live to work. God bless.
All right. As we said, Chaim Brook is going to join us in the next hour by recording. So Shane will leave us, and we'll be talking about that. Coming up also at 6 p.m. today, we've got the Cal Polys in town to take on the MSU Bobcats. That'll be at 6 o'clock on our sister station, XL Country, 100.7 on your FM dial. And don't forget to vote for Tom and Shane, BozemanMagazine.com. Go over to BozemanMagazine.com, click on Bozeman's Choice. Tom and Shane are nominated in several categories under Media and Info. Nothing will happen to you. You won't be inundated with emails or all kinds of offers or anything like that. We've won these before, and not a single listener has complained about getting anything untoward from Bozeman Magazine. So they are an upstanding group, or we wouldn't have been nominated by them. So we hope you'll get over to BozemanMagazine.com, click on Bozeman Choice, and get that done. Coming up at the 10 o'clock hour, a recorded conversation I had with Chaim Brook yesterday, so stay tuned for that, and I will be back right after the news. Says it can't open it. Well, shoot. Well, I guess we're not going to have Chaim Brook on. So that's a shame, because we had a real interesting conversation. I'll try and see what the problem is. Maybe we can play this next week because it's very informative, and I really apologize. It says we can't open it because the file is unsupported. And I think I know maybe what the problem with that might be, but isn't going to be anything I'm going to be able to fix at the moment. So, Shane, if you're listening, come on back. So, oh man, I'm really sorry about that. But I think I can fix the issue, but I've got to I'll do my best, and we'll see if we can't have that on next week. I think I know what the problem is. It's in the identification of the file, but at any rate, we'll see if we can't play that for you in its entirety next week. So, but guess what? We've got plenty left to talk about. So. So where we are, the other thing I wanted to talk about is in the 2020 election, where the Republicans were supposed to capitalize on the midterms. We had a Roe v. Wade before that, and I said at the time, abortion's going to be on the ballot, whether it's on the ballot or not. And sure enough, the Republicans took a bath. They lost the Senate. They barely managed to keep the House. And some things that are happening that are going to still affect the election coming up. We've got Mexican women are wading across the Rio Grande into Mexico. They're crawling under the barbed wire to cross the border. To get abortions in Mexico. So it's a situation that Mexican abortion activist Jimenez Rubikov never imagined would happen. I was very surprised, she tells The Telegraph. The United States used to be the reference point on abortion, but in September, Mexico's Supreme Court decriminalized abortion nationwide, offering legal protection for any woman who seeks an abortion in this country. So before the reversal of Roe v. Wade, I would talk to one or two women a week, she said, and now it's more than 20. Abortion is still illegal in a dozen states: Idaho, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Missouri, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, Mississippi, and so those are some of the states. In July, a man from Nebraska asked for help. He had crossed the border into Mexico with his pregnant daughter to find a way for her to have a safe abortion. And the man was from Monterey originally, but in face of the restrictions in Nebraska, he felt that he needed to go to Mexico to get help. So for decades, Mexican activist networks have helped women access abortion-inducing pills, and now that with a patchwork of restrictions across the United States, they're working to help women on the border as well. So some things from our text line, 406-478-8298. Trump is still in the polls because he is an old bigot, lies and says the economy is doing good. The truth is hitting their pocketbook. I always agreed with the thought that China is dependent upon the U.S. consumers more so than before. And they are. They are very dependent on consumers in the U.S. So, yeah. Oh, let's see. Another thing I've noticed over the last week is how the execution and beheading of babies doesn't have quite the effect on the masses as it did not too long ago. Guess that's what we get for a nation that dismembers fetuses daily. Yeah, I was going to say that abortion is pretty much the same thing as tearing the babies apart. So there you are. Mike Lindell is an inspirational figure. He conquered drug addiction, became a man of Christian faith, and built a thriving business. He is just another example of the persecution by our totalitarian leftists in the government and media to attempt to destroy anyone who supports President Trump or ever had a cup of coffee with him. So I would tend to agree with that, I guess. So, let's see. Trump has morals? LOL. That guy was convicted of sexual assault, lied about elections, stole from a charity, and has morals. That's the funniest thing, but it's not a cult. So, And Republicans are playing checkers. Democrats are playing chess. 3 moves ahead. They're letting you nominate Trump, which is the weakest candidate. And then once nominations said, they will unleash the attack ads, and his polls will plummet. Haley is right. Trump and morals could not appear in the same sentence. Even Trump supporters know he has no morals. A guy who cheated on all his wives. So. We knew that going in before he was elected. I don't know why the need to keep hashing up his cheated charities. He did this, he did that, did whatever. I mean, come on. That's you knew that going in before this ever happened. So, getting back to the abortion issue, though. One of the things that the Republicans are concerned about is that after voters in Ohio stood up for reproductive rights, analysts believe the Democrats have a roadmap to victory in 2024. And I would tend to agree with them. As long as abortion is on the issue, boy, it's going to be tough to get Republicans in there. So in Ohio, they described it as a 5-alarm fire for Democrats. Strategists warned the result showed how motivating the issue has become for Democrats and that it could help put Joe Biden in the White House for another 4 years. Ohio is a swing state that has voted for the winner in every presidential election between 1964 and 2016. It has shifted increasingly to Republicans, with Donald Trump surging to victory by 8 points in both 2016 and 2020. So on Wednesday, the state held a vote on a motion known as Issue 1 that centered on the issue of abortion. And the results was that those backing abortion rights won by 14 points, 57% to 43%. So if we think that abortion is not going to be on the ballot in November, I think we got to rethink that situation, because that ain't going to happen. So, abortion will be on the ballot, which is why Trump is backing it now, or walking it back now. He put his finger in the wind and saw votes disappearing. Well, they will. I fully believe they will disappear. Crazy that responsibility and common sense is replaced by tearing a living soul from the womb because the child you created is inconvenient. And that's pretty much the reason for abortion is it's just not convenient to have a child right now. It's going to complicate my life. And that's a sad state of affairs, but that's what we're looking at. That's the mentality that we have. Personal responsibility has gone out the window. Ladies, keep your legs together, and men, keep your pants zipped. And if you're going to engage with each other, then you need to be prepared to take the responsibility for the end result, whatever that result might be. I can't comprehend how Israel, with all their security, allowed this attack. I trust no government. Yeah, we asked that question earlier, and it does seem kind of unusual that Shane was pointing out that they didn't use normal means of communication, and that certainly speaks highly of the intelligence of who you're dealing with. But man, for an attack to be that well thought out, that well planned, and executed, for that not to come to light in some intelligence communities, pretty tough. So, Tom Shade and every talk show host will be the reason we will have another Biden regime. You ignore every other candidate and lift up the most hated candidate, Trump. I will blame you for this. Well, I'm not promoting Trump in any way. I'm just pointing out who's ahead and where everybody else is. And as we get closer to the election, I believe the polls are going to reflect changes in some of these candidates. We've got another debate coming up in November, another GOP debate. There'll be fewer on the stage yet again. And after that debate, I think the group that's going to run for president will be narrowed considerably, because if you're not doing well in the polls, you can't attract money. That's what happened to Kamala Harris. She got like 1% of the vote or something like that, and had to drop out I think she dropped out before Iowa even. But that's what we're looking at when, if there's anyone that's losing in the polls or is not gaining in the polls, the money from supporters, they're going to put their money where they think a winning candidate might be. So that's where we find ourselves there. I want specifics on where Trump lied while in office. Anyone? Bueller? Well, the folks out there would say, well, he said China was going to pay for the wall. He was going to inject disinfectant. What else? Bombs would stop hurricanes. You could go on and on. Now, we don't want to bring up, of course, Biden's kitchen fire, or that he was a truck driver, grew up in a Puerto Rican community, taught at a university, was number one in his class. Any of the provable flubs, at least, that Trump made more predictions that didn't come true, where Biden is just embellishing his past to make himself look better. Trump lied about replacing Obamacare. Well, Trump can't replace Obamacare. That's Congress's job. Building a wall, I put that up, and not playing golf. So, hey, do you really believe that business is not done on a golf course? He was number one in his class, so he sued to keep his grades hidden. Nobody questioned where Trump was in his class. Biden was the one that kept bringing it up where he was. So every Trump supporter knows he has no morals, a guy who cheated on all his wives. Well, yeah, Trump and morals should not appear in the same sentence. Let's see. Ohio has always predicted the presidents, including 2020. Yeah, Ohio's always been the swing state of what's happening over there. So, from our app chat line, AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone, the eclipse has almost covered half of the sun right now. So if you're outside and looking around, don't look directly at the sun without some kind of eye protection. Get some dark glasses or whatever. So make sure you do that as well. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, Santos, you just heard him on our news just a moment ago, and they're charging him with 10 indictments, I guess. So he, if you don't remember Santos, he's the one that embellished his resume with a lot of mistruths, I guess. Unfortunately for him, he's charged with 10 new criminal counts Tuesday over accusations he inflated his campaign finance reports and charged donors' credit cards without their authorization. So he pleaded not guilty in May to 13 count indictments. I don't know if anybody read those indictments or not, but hopefully someone out there read the indictments. But Santos pleaded not guilty, and so the charges add new criminal exposure for the battle lawmaker, who began his first term in January after admitting to embellishing parts of his background while campaigning. And I don't know if anybody that you ever gone to a job without an embellished resume? The additional indictment comes days after Santos' former campaign treasurer Nancy Marks reached a deal with prosecutors and pleaded guilty to conspiring with the 10 then candidate, to carry out a scheme prosecutors are dubbing the party program, in which the duo committed fraud on Santos' campaign finance reports. So we've got that going on as well. So, yeah, well, Carrie Lake, she's going to run for the Senate. If you don't remember Carrie Lake, she was embroiled in the Arizona governor's race. She felt she won, felt it was part of the Trump voting machine deals and whatever, and felt that she should have won that case. But anyway, she's announced her Senate bid on Tuesday, entering the race for Christian Sinema's Arizona seat. Christian is an independent in Arizona, independent that caucuses with the Democrats. I've never heard of an independent ever that caucuses with the Republicans, so I don't know. But Lake, an ally of former President Trump, who has denied her loss last year in the governor's race, will face off against Sheriff Mark Lamb in the Republican primary. Last week, she filed the final paperwork to run in the critical swing state. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Ruben Gallego, Democrat of Arizona, is running on the Democrat side, while Sinema has stayed mum on any campaign plans. So she may still run as an independent. And that might take votes away and give Lake an opportunity to get in there. So we'll just have to see how that goes on. Let's see. Under Trump, relatively southern border under control, unemployment at 50-year low, Abraham peace accords in the Middle East, energy independent, crushed ISIS, no wars in Ukraine, the Middle East, Joe Biden, disastrous Afghan withdrawal, war on the petroleum industry, inflation at 40-year highs, open borders, 6 million illegals, cost of groceries of virtually every commodity up, crime and chaos in the cities. Pretty obvious who's better for the country. So make a lot of excellent points there, that most of those are certainly true. And we're in a situation right now, we're subsidizing now 2 wars, and our strategic petroleum reserve is depleted considerably. So as Shane was pointing out earlier, oil could easily go up to $150 a barrel and beyond, and particularly if they reimpose sanctions on Iran. So we'll see what goes on with that. So let's see. Trump accomplished more in our country in 4 years than Biden did in 47 years in public service. Biden threw his stick wife to the curb and married his babysitter. Who has less morals, a guy who was accused of stuff while a private citizen, or a guy who dated his babysitter while in office? There you go. Santos embellished resume, cough, choke. Oh my gosh, that's funny. When you claim Santos embellished his resume, you must also believe Trump's lies too. She's not locked up. Trump lies, Obama tapped my phone. Another lie. Trump even lied about crowd size. And we never had an attack on the Capitol before Trump. Yes, we did. In 1989, a group of female leftists bombed the United States Capitol. Look it up. So all of that was happening way back in the day. So not too bad. So Trump is asking attorneys for President Trump. They're seeking a judge's permission to subpoena the former chairman of the House committee that investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol, repeating a disputed claim that the panel failed to turn over all the evidence it collected. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Also, I want to get into the Montana's double voting law. We want to talk about conservative nonprofit textbook license has been issued, the TikTok ban in Montana, And property tax rebate numbers are out, and also Bozeman Development Code update and real estate and demographics here in Bozeman. So we'll be talking about all that in the next half hour. So stay tuned for that. I will return right after the news. 27 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Saturday. It's October 14th, 2023. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. We had scheduled Chaim Brook to be on at this hour by recording, but we had some technical issues with the recording, and we'll try and play that next week. So I apologize for that. That was, see, the problem is that I do all this on my Mac, and Mac recognizes a file for what it is. Since our station is run by IBMs, you have to make sure that you include the MP3 on any item that you put on, because IBM is too stupid to know that it's an audio file. So that was my fault. Sorry about that. So I will correct that, and we'll try and see if we can have Chaim Brook on next week. And I apologize for that. Let's see. This week, Trump bashed Israel and praised Hezbollah. Well, he didn't. Well, bashing is probably pretty accurate, I would say. I guess that's probably true. Where's the intelligence of Israeli intelligence? Where's American intelligence? Hezbollah and Hamas, pretty coordinated attack, well planned and well executed. So it's hard not to. It's hard not to say, hey, they got the better of Israel and the United States intelligence. So, whether it's true or not, it's we know the facts. So, oil and gas production at an all-time high. Well, gas production isn't. Drilling is. LNG exports at an all-time high, helping heroes in Ukraine kill Russian fascists, lowest unemployment since 1969. Well, that's not exactly true. The job report indicates that, yes, unemployment is low because everybody's working 2 and 3 jobs. So because of this situation that we're in with the inflation and prices at the pump, so, and the grocery store. If the ignorant, uninformed leftist texters here that have been brainwashed by the decadent leftist media continually say Trump is a liar should Google Biden's lies, page after page of his well-documented lies. Biden is a pathological liar of epic proportions, and I think that's come to light recently, well, almost all through his presidency, but starting with Hawaii, people started looking into his embellishments more and more, and finding that, he fudged about his transcripts at college, truck driver, teaching, where he finished in his class, all kinds of, things that are obviously easy to look up. Trump could have maybe somehow made Mexico pay for the wall. That's just a prediction. That's not something he lied about. He thought he could probably get Mexico to pay for it. And Mexico is certainly paying for not having the wall with the influx of people that are in their country, because I'm pretty sure that probably people that are coming from the southern border of Mexico or wherever they're coming from are probably committing crimes along the way to get food or clothing or something. So they're either shoplifting or doing something. So Mexico is definitely paying something for our open border. Let's see. Biden's lies didn't cost me like Trump. Trump's tariff, inflation, no health plan cost me plenty. Well, I didn't see Biden do away with the tariffs. Those are still in place. I didn't see Biden do anything with the health plan other than something that Trump started was reducing the cost of prescription drugs. Biden just finished it up. Biden lied about his college grades. Whoop-de-doo. Trump lied about a virus killing 150,000 Americans, including my thumper friend who believed him. Well, sorry, more people died under Biden than died under Trump. So, and Trump got a vaccine in 10 months. So give me a break. Trump flat out lied Mexico will pay. He never thought he would win. And yes, Biden is a liberal like Trump. Case in point, Biden had virus longer than Trump. So there we go. You lead them to water, but you can't make them drink. The volume of lies has been cut in nearly 100%. Seeing Shane has taken some time away from the program today. I'm sure Shane will appreciate that. So, is the United States funding both Hamas and Israel? Well, I would bet indirectly they are. Money's going to the Middle East in the form of nation building or handouts for please don't hurt us. We're really good people. We're giving you money. So yeah, I would be extremely surprised if no American money is ending up in Hamas hands. I'm not a liberal. Never Trumpers are conservatives. Get a clue, cultists. Well, you sound like a liberal. It's one thing bashing Trump. You got 7 other candidates, I guess, that you could be propping up. I don't see you doing that. All right. Let's see what else we got over here. One of the things that, again, the courts are doing double duty here in Montana because 2 Montana organizations have filed suit in federal court claiming that a new law intended to stop people from voting twice goes beyond its goal and could threaten lawful voters. The Montana PIRG and the Montana Federation of Public Employees are challenging House Bill 892, which adds more specifics to the state law against double voting. Now, that's where, if you're a college student from Tennessee here at MSU and you vote in our election, and then you also get your absentee ballot from Tennessee. So they're arguing the language in the bill might leave people open to criminal penalties simply by neglecting to cancel a previous registration, even if they never voted or intended to. You can do something that we've all done, move across different houses in the state, even move within the same country, and you run into this problem. Montana already had a law in place saying no one could vote more than once in a single election. House Bill 892 expanded that section of the law, saying people can't vote in equivalent elections in Montana and in another state, that they can't purposefully remain registered to vote in more than one place, and that they must provide their previous registration information when registering to vote at their new location. So they're challenging that in court as to whether in the complaint they said the language of the bill included too many ambiguities. For example, they questioned whether a voter would have to specifically contact their previous jurisdiction to make sure that their name had been removed from the rolls, and whether a person could face criminal charges if they merely failed to complete the section on the voter registration form that asked for prior registration. So I think I don't see anything wrong with asking for prior registration if there's one in there. So, if you vote in another state, as many of our MSU students do, So, I don't know. Criticizing Trump does not make me a liberal. I support Nikki Haley. Well, good for you. Then why don't you, instead of all the crap about Trump, give me all the successes of Nikki Haley every week. So happy to put them up. I'm happy that Biden has NATO united against the dictator in Russia. I'm happy that not a single person in Biden's administration has been charged with a federal crime. Well, I think some have, but that's just whatever. I'll have to look that up. Appeasement doesn't work. History shows us through Neville Chamberlain trying to appease Hitler. Those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. And I would agree with that. You can't appease these people. You can't buy them. We spend billions in foreign aid for what? We give money to the Central American, all the places down there that are funneling people through the southern border to get to the United States. So, I tell you, I don't know, At least we didn't send Biden to Israel to meet with their prime minister and cabinet members. He would have stumbled into the Israeli flag, babbled incoherently, attempted to shake hands with non-existent people, and then fell off the stage. What a pathetic joke Joe Biden is. Yeah, it's sad, really, to be witness to this president. The leaders of the free world have to be just laughing continuously at this guy, that anyone who thinks that Biden is in charge of the government, I don't know who's running it. Maybe his chief of staff, but or maybe it's the Obamas. I don't know, or Clintons. But it's obvious that he's not in charge. So, Tom, why are the libs so miserable? They are miserable, aren't they? That's a problem of being a liberal. It's really easy. I'm for this, I'm for this, I'm for this, I'm for this. How are you going to pay for it? Why are these liberals so miserable that always text in? If President Trump were in the House, as he should be, the last thing I would be doing is text a lib show as a conservative. Miserable libs, miserable left, miserable people hit the I-15 and head west, numbskulls. That's from Jen again. So thanks, Jen, for tuning in. We appreciate you listening very much. And thanks for signing your text, which most people don't do. So, which we give them the opportunity to showcase their thoughts on here. And that's why we have a text line, so that people who, for whatever reason, either aren't comfortable being on the radio or don't want their identity known, sitting in their underwear in their mom's basement and texting about politics. So I look at results. Trump gave me low gas and a strong economy. Biden gave me double-digit inflation, a hidden tax, higher taxes, high gas, and higher food costs. Hard to argue with that. Let's see. A person in Biden's administration, a transgender whack job. I don't remember who it is who's convicted of stealing other people's luggage at the airport. Yeah, that was our former, nuclear overseer, nuclear watchdog guy. And of course, you're... one of the military women, men, guys, whatever he is also in that camp. Well, good news. Any of you who are familiar with Prager University on YouTube, they put out a lot of courses and informational videos and things about how life really is. And a national nonprofit recently licensed to provide instructional materials to Montana public schools is sparking controversy elsewhere in the country over its conservative leaning and its products handling of topics such as slavery, climate change, and colonialism. According to the Office of Public Instruction, State Superintendent Elsie Artisan, I always get her name wrong, Artisan, signed a textbook licensing agreement August 2nd with Prager University. They're a nonprofit advocacy organization founded in 2009 by conservative talk show host Dennis Prager. And on the website, PragerU, which is not an accredited educational institution, says it promotes American values through the use of its videos and offers a free alternative to the dominant left-wing ideology in culture, media, and education. As of this fall, the organization also an approved vendor of educational materials in Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas, all red states, of course. So there we are. So, if you get over to YouTube, just do a search for Prager University. I think you'd be impressed with the way they create their videos and how they report on things like slavery and inflation and government and other things. Nikki cut taxes, nixed burdensome government regulations, and made small business a state priority. At the end of Governor Haley's tenure, more South Carolinas were working than at any other time in history. That sounds a lot like Donald Trump. Nikki, wife of a veteran, she never calls soldiers suckers and losers. General Kelly confirmed Trump said this. How can you support a man who does that about soldiers who died in combat? Trump had Ben Carson, one of the best doctors in the country. Biden gave us a guy with mental issues who insists he's a woman with the wrong equipment. Yeah, that's how it works out. And of course, the president also said, I'll support or I'll appoint a woman of color to the Supreme Court. Doesn't matter if she's qualified or not. Doesn't matter what men might be available, what women might be available, what Eskimos, American Indians, Samoans are qualified. It's got to be a black woman. I'm sorry. All others need not apply, much like they told the Irish at the turn of the 19th century. Let's see. Rachel in West Yellowstone. Thanks, Rachel. I didn't think we got to West Yellowstone. You must be listening to us online. Oh, Ben Carson is black, by the way. Yeah, he is. So. Well, in other news, we've got to talk about before we get out of here. We've got the TikTok ban in Montana, and a lot of people are on the fence on TikTok, as it's a fairly free platform, probably freer than Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and some of the others, where free speech is probably a little more available on TikTok than other medias. I don't use it myself because, well, I'm intelligent. Montana's legislature's contentious decision to ban social media platform TikTok in the name of protecting residents' digital privacy, now subject of a high-profile court challenge, has drawn national headlines for months. And the first of those laws, Senate Bill 351, enacts strict protections for genetic data collected from Montana consumers, including the results of analysis by 23andMe-style genetic testing companies, sponsored by Daniel Zolnikoff, who I've interviewed a couple of times over in Billings, and it passed the legislature with bipartisan support and was signed into law June 7th. Most of the provisions took effect on October 1st. The other, Senate Bill 384, will provide Montanans with broad digital privacy protections, including specific rights to access their personal data, correct inaccurate information, and have data held by businesses deleted upon request. It also guarantees consumers the option to opt out of targeted advertising and to block companies from selling their information. So So all of that is going on in the courts right now. So TikTok is in the crosshairs of the courts. Well, Montana released the more than 207,000 property tax rebates were approved during the August and September application period. Montana lawmakers approved the 675 million property tax rebates during the session. And for this year, the state received 226,711 applications during the roughly 6-week period where you could apply for the rebate. 207,000 were accepted and 10,000 were denied. A total of 2,723 claims were deemed fraudulent by the state. So overall, 136 million and change was paid to property owners through the rebate. And the total numbers could change as the state will honor mail applications postmarked on the deadline date of October 2nd. And you'll also be able to go for this again in 2024. You'll again be able to claim another rebate of up to $675 on property taxes that you're going to incur this year. So pretty good deal there. It's always nice when the government returns money to you. I like that point. Well, I don't know if any of you are on Nextdoor.com. Nextdoor.com is a community of folks in various neighborhoods that get together online and voice their opinions about various things. And one of the topics that's come up a lot is the new draft code and proposed zoning map for Bozeman and the surrounding area. And they have changed a lot of the zoning from the residential 1, 2, and 3 to what they call RA, which means they can put up 3-story, 5-story, complexes of all kinds. And a lot of people are upset that they're putting all this in. Developers and builders and the community at large will be consulted on specific topics relevant to how different people react from the code. So they're formatting an organization, they call the UDC. They're changing zoning districts, parking, transportation, all of those things are happening. And the winter of 2023, public review and adoption of this, and the project end date is late 23. So if you're concerned about zoning in your area, if you're seeing a lot of buildings going up, I think you will find that this could be, we could be just a series of 3- and 4-story buildings completely all over Bozeman. So, it's not going to happen overnight, but certainly it is possible that's is extremely possible. So, let's see. Whoever believes that Trump calls soldiers suckers and losers is the kind of person that spreads rumors without having a bit of evidence. Yeah, there's almost no evidence of anything like that happening. And Iran shot down a $50 million dome, and Trump really said, well, it wasn't manned. I don't know about that. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks to Shane. He's one of a kind. He's half man, half amazing, and it's a pleasure to have him here with me. And it's Saturday, it's October 14th, the MSU Bobcats, they'll take on Cal Poly out at the stadium, 6 p.m. tonight. So get that on your dial. That'll be on our sister station, 100.7 XL Country. And don't forget, Tom and Shane, BozemanMagazine.com. BozemanMagazine.com. Get over there, check on Bozeman's Choice, and vote for Tom and Shane under Media and Info. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the texts. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you guys so much. I am out of here.